IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here at The Planet with Tim, as always, working the board, making everything sound good. Tim with the Misfits shirt. Very nice. And if you need a DJ for your event, be sure to go to centralnhevents.com. You can hire Mr. Tim Martin. He'll show up. He'll DJ your event. Do you wear the Misfits shirt when you go to DJ, Tim?
If requested, sure.
Excellent, excellent. So Tim will wear the Misfits shirt if you ask him to. CentralNHEvents.com is the website to find Mr. Tim Martin. And we're sitting here with Jerry Long from The Grays. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
And The Grays is with an apostrophe.
The Grays is with an apostrophe. Very important for the internet.
Yes. And how many people are in the band aside from you?
We're a trio, power trio.
And what do you do in the band?
I'm the guitar player.
Okay. And
both me and the bass player, Jeremiah, we both sing the songs.
Okay.
We sing what we write, basically. We're the main songwriters in the band, so
okay.
we kind of handle that forefront. And then we got Noah on drums.
Okay. Very cool. So you got a little power trio going.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Always been my favorite, the trios.
Yeah, nice, nice, good. Well, why don't we play something? You did bring some tunes with you.
Absolutely.
Some live bootleg stuff, correct?
Yep, right now we have a lot of live bootleg stuff out there, so we brought some of those to show you guys.
Okay.
We're hoping to get in the studio and get some professionally recorded stuff here real quick, but for now we're running with the bootlegs.
Nice. Hey, that works. What do you want to play? What do you want to start the show with?
I was telling you earlier, we do a sound check thing in the beginning of our set, so I was hoping we'll throw that instrumental sound check that we usually do to open up our set. I like this one in particular, so hope you guys do too.
Okay. So this is just called Sound Check, I guess.
Sure.
Right? All right. Sound Check from The Grays here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here with Jerry Long from The Grays, and that is The Grays with an apostrophe.
Yeah.
Can you explain that? Why there's
yeah, absolutely, sure. There was an old band, short-lived, didn't last long, didn't get grossly popular or anything, but oddly enough, if you look them up on the internet, if you type in The Grays, they pop up every time. So we had to kind of get away from them.
Yeah.
We put the apostrophe in there. We were going, we kind of go on the concept. There was an X-Files episode. It was actually called The Grays that Dave Duchovny directed.
Okay.
It was about segregated baseball teams. It was actually aliens. So I love that episode. I was always fascinated with ETs and stuff like that. So with the apostrophe, we kind of thought it might, kind of lend to being owned by the Grays, property of. So, and it was, like I said, trying to get away from that other band mostly.
Sure,
so.
sure.
I think they were English.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Can't trust them.
So now, do all three of you write together, or is it just you and
just
Jeremiah?
us two, me and the bass player Jeremiah. We both write the tunes and try to, do them the best we can. We sing what tunes we write, and we try to sing together and harmonize. Singing is new to us. We've always been musicians in bands. We've been playing since we were young kids, but we've always been. I was a lead guitar player for a few different bands in California. We're originally from Southern California, so
okay.
Our roots are out there. But we've been in quite a few different bands, and this is the first one where we've kind of taken the reins and doing the whole singer-songwriter frontman type deal. So
have you and Jeremiah worked together before?
We've worked in bands before with other singers.
Oh, okay.
Mostly Southern California bands. Not a lot of popularity or people you guys would know so much out here, but
sure.
Pretty good bands out there. And like I said, always kind of left it up to another guy to kind of handle the vocals and the lyrical and melodies in that aspect of the music. And now we've kind of taken over that side of it. And it's definitely nerve wracking, but it's fun. It's a whole different ball game, I guess.
Did you guys move out here together, you and Jeremiah?
Well, Jeremiah came out here before I did. He came out here when he was in high school.
Okay,
actually.
So I was going to say, I've known him for a long time.
Yeah, but he's been going back and forth. He moved, after he came out here, he actually moved back to California for a few years. Oh. I just moved here in 2007, but I've been coming out here for summers.
Sure.
I would come out for the summer gig, and work the local restaurants and stuff like that since the early 90s. So
yeah.
We're old.
Well, how long has this band existed?
This band is fairly new. We've been together a little bit under a year now.
Okay.
In this form and with, the writing the tunes and kind of doing it the way we're doing it now. But we've been playing together. Me, Jeremiah, and also his brother Justin have been playing together since we were 15 years old. So we have a lot of history in playing together. This particular band is pretty new, though.
Yeah. So did that make it easier to get the band going, having had so much experience playing with Jeremiah?
Yeah, definitely. Having the go-to guy that you've played with so much with other bands, it made it so much easier. I think if I'd gotten into a band where we had to figure out how we played music together and then figured out how to sing our songs, it would have been probably twice as hard. So,
no doubt.
So that definitely helped out. I think we were able to jump right into what we did musically for years and years past and work on the new stuff as far as being the front man and the vocal melody stuff like that was a little more easier to concentrate on because we were comfortable with the music.
Sure. You guys both have a lot of experience in other bands. Has any of that material made it into this project, or is this all new stuff?
No, we've been doing all new stuff. As a matter of fact, we've been doing new sets. Even in this year, we're pretty prolific, as weird as that sounds for being new to the kind of writing game, but we've done probably 25 songs in this year. So we've actually, the last two sets we played, our last two live gigs were, I think it was 7 out of 11, all new songs that no one had ever heard before. So we were proud about that, and they're coming out and they're evolving and they're very different from each other. So we're excited.
Yeah,
we're excited about it.
Is it hard to narrow down the set list when you go to play?
It's real hard to narrow. It's hard to narrow down the genre of the band. Really, we're looking at all the different songs. I'm sure you'll see after we play them on the air. There's, we do, because of the two writers, I think, and because of just eclectic taste in music. I love everything from Misfits. We got the shirt over here to I love the Pixies. I love the Beatles. The Beatles are, I think, the greatest. And me and both Jeremiah both mutually love Faith No More. Big fans of those guys, and and Jeremiah loves some of the funk stuff like Jamiroquai and Sly and the Family Stone, stuff like that. So I think it's it's definitely a good mix. I think I like a certain edgier, heavier kind of stuff, and he has a certain funk style to him to when they get together. I think it's a cool mix for the crowd for sure. Yeah.
So you have all these live tracks.
Yeah.
What is you mentioned earlier that the plan is to get into a studio and record. Any idea when that's going to happen, or do you know yet? Or?
The plan is to get someone to pay for us to go into the studio and record. That's the plan for all bands, I think.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is if we have to do it one song at a time and foot the bill ourselves, I'm sure that's what we're going to need to do.
Yeah.
We need to get a better press pack together as of now.
Sure.
The live tunes are real cool, and these are fairly good bootlegs you'll be able to see, but there's nothing like having studio mics and rooms and
Absolutely.
all that kind of stuff. The studio, you can do a lot of magic when it comes to the studio. All of our stuff, especially being a trio, we have a lot of overlapping and overlaying guitar ideas and vocal ideas. Unfortunately, when you only got 3 guys up there, you have to have a kind of live way you play the tunes as well. And when you get these bootlegs, you hear the live way. I'm sure when we get in the studio, they're gonna blossom.
Sure, absolutely. Well, why don't we play another track from your live bootlegs that you brought? What do you want to play?
Awesome. That sounds awesome. We're gonna go ahead and play a tune called Red Handed.
Okay.
And that's a Gray's tune. It's one of the new ones I mentioned earlier. That was this show was actually the show we got it from was the first time it was ever played in front of anybody. So.
Oh, no kidding. Cool. All right. So
I hope you guys like it.
Excellent. This is Red Handed from the Grays here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
100.1 The Planet's Local Outbreak with IPMNation.com.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com here with Jerry Long from the band The Grays. We were talking earlier, Jerry, we were talking about going into the studio and how once you do get the opportunity to do that, your sound can kind of blossom and you can really flesh the tunes out the way you want to.
Absolutely.
Does that create a challenge when you go to play live? Do you have to sometimes kind of pare down what you're doing versus what your original vision is for the songs? I mean, in terms of how
I think
written?
definitely. I think that's interesting because I remember the Beatles talking about they not to compare us to the Beatles or anything,
right.
but I remember the Beatles talking that before they made Sgt. Pepper, they had played their last live gig. They couldn't hear themselves because of the frenzy that they were working the crowd into. The equipment couldn't keep up back then.
Yeah.
So when they went in to do Sgt. Pepper, they went in with that in mind that they don't have to play these live. And that's how they were able to do such a layered album, such a big album like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I would look at it. Even knowing that you couldn't pull them off live, I think I would want to get the best tunes that I could in the studio. I'd use Smashing Pumpkins, for instance, too. That Siamese Dream album, I've seen them play those tunes live, and they don't capture half of the stuff that they put on that album.
Sure.
But I wouldn't change that album for the world. So,
right.
To me, if you're, you got the dough and you're in there, use it,
Right.
If you're in the studio, use all the tricks. And, I'm a naturalist. I'm not saying that I want to use studio effects and this and that, but as far as layering and doing certain stuff that's probably not going to be able to be pulled off live, I think I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It'll make a great record,
Yeah. And you and Jeremiah split the lead vocals live,
we do.
correct? Depending on
we
who
split
wrote
the
what?
lead vocals. Whoever wrote the song usually sings the tune.
Yeah.
We do, backing vocals and harmonies and stuff like that. But usually the lead will be the guy who wrote the tune.
Does your drummer, I forget his name.
Noah does not sing.
No
I
backing
want him
vocals
to.
or anything? Yeah.
No. He's got a voice like a canary, too. He really should. Yeah. But he's concentrating on drumming, and that's a good thing. So
Yeah. Maybe eventually when he gets comfortable.
We want him to be Don Henley, but he's just not not taking the reins on that. So I guess we'll have to sing for now.
Do you guys play out a lot? Are you doing a lot of shows?
We do. We did 8 weeks in a row there, a couple times, a couple shows a weekend.
Great.
We're doing as much as we can. We don't go out of the area too much.
Really?
We try to stick around this area for the most part. The thing about it is there's not a lot of venues that have original bands. Sure. There's every other venue around here will have a cover band. If you play, a 3-hour set of top 40 hits, you can actually make an okay living actually doing a cover band around here if you're good enough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for original bands, not a lot of people are paying anything. We do get, some paying gigs and stuff like that, but the venues are not as vast as I'd hope they would be,
Right.
But we're still looking, so.
What are some of the places that you like to play around here?
We enjoy.
There aren't that many that do original music, so might as well give a shout out to the ones that do.
Yeah, for the ones that do, for sure. And they invite us back and back again, so for sure, we'd like to thank and tell everybody to go to the Cackling Crow.
Okay.
In Guilford or Laconia. I think it's Guilford. That's a real cool place. Has original music on the weekends, and they're very nice to the local bands around here, and they give you a little coin to do it. So we'd like to give them a plug.
Yeah.
Also, the Heat in Laconia, across from Fun Spot, there they have a stage and they do original music every weekend, and they are generous as well.
Great.
We like to get out there to Dover. The Brick House,
great room,
is a good room, and they have a good sound, and they're very gracious to original music, so we try to play those places as much as we can. And like I said, really, we'll play your bar mitzvah, we'll play anywhere, really.
Sure.
The whole thing is I think that most musicians will agree that we would play even if you didn't pay us, Sure. The thing is, don't tell anybody that.
Right.
But most musicians will get up there and play if you ask them. So, I mean, as far as getting out there, we'll play parties, we'll play bar mitzvahs, weddings, graduations, whatever. So
you guys are in a good position, though, to be able to go out and play consistently on weekends and get paid for it.
Yeah.
Doing original music, that's really good. That's a good spot to be in.
It is. And we've found a niche with the few clubs that we do go and play. So we're really gracious and grateful to them.
Yeah.
And we appreciate, all the original clubs and venues around here that put on original music. Cause like I said, there's not a lot of them. So
do you have any advice for bands that are starting out, young bands that are starting out that really want to be able to do what you do, actually play original music and make a little bit of money?
Well, the thing about it, playing original music is I would just say, try to be sincere, play what you really like. Don't try to play a particular genre because you think you want to play a certain area.
Yeah.
Be sincere to what music you love, and you can pull off well. And I think good music will eventually find a home somewhere. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of places around here, but once you get into a place, there is places that will give you a chance. I think if you're sincere, you go in there and you put your heart out there, usually they invite you back.
Sure.
And, the weird part of it is that while there's not a lot of clubs that have a lot of original music and bands playing all the time, there is a lot of music lovers around here. Mm-hmm. When you get on the internet, there's a lot of people hitting the websites and going to to the few venues that have them. So I think, with the more bands coming around, more young bands and people getting out there, I think it'll pick up speed and get some momentum,
My theory has always been that there's an audience for anything.
Absolutely.
No matter what you're doing, no matter how obscure, unusual, or non-commercial it might be.
For sure.
It's just a matter of finding those people or being available and having an online presence enough where they can find you.
Yeah. That's what's great about the internet. The thing about it is especially in a smaller community such as New Hampshire, we have a lot of small towns. Without the touch of the internet, you go back to even say the early 90s where you really had to do the footwork and get out there. Humping it, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier now, man. On that computer, you can tap on those keys all day and really network yourself like no other time. So even with the small community out here, we have a huge internet community, obviously. And, there is enough kids and enough music lovers, like I was saying, that if you get on the keys and stroke those computer keys, you can get people out to your shows. And the bottom line is if venues start selling out with original music, more venues are going to have original music.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is we wonder, because I know you're an original band too, man. We wonder why more venues, don't have original music and why everybody's got the cover bands is because the everyday bar goer loves to hear top 40 cover bands. They're dancing and drinking. They're not there particularly for the music.
Sure. If
we can get enough of these kids to come down for music, then there will be, it's supply and demand. There'll be venues created for that.
Right.
You gotta, if people want to spend money, people will be there to collect it.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate and enjoy hearing your positive spin on all of it and your optimism, because a lot of people in the scene, and I'm sure you run into it constantly, people who get very negative and down on the scene, and say, "Oh, the scene sucks. There's nowhere to play. This and that."
Absolutely.
And I hate hearing that stuff because And I've actually ranted about it. I when I was a guest on this show before
Yeah.
I became the host, I kind of ranted about how, you'll hear people talk like that. And when people talk like that, what I hear is, when they say, oh, the scene sucks and there's nothing here and this and that. What I'm really hearing from them is I'm not rich and famous and successful and I'm bitter about it. So I'm
Right.
going to blame the scene.
Absolutely.
Whereas it sounds like you come from the point of view of the scene is what you make it.
Oh, absolutely. The thing about it is if you have great tunes, right here where we're at in New Hampshire, there's a handful of venues that you can play.
Right.
The bottom line is, though, if you have great tunes and you play those venues, we're an hour and something away from Boston, one of the
Exactly.
best scenes in this country.
Exactly.
So, the bottom line is if you have great tunes up here, you will play down there.
Right.
So that's what I'm hoping to do. I know I've read some articles about just what you were saying, local
Yeah.
bands that are getting fed up. I hope that I don't get to that point. I haven't been here as long. Like I said,
Yeah.
I just moved here in 07, so there is something to be said for I'm sort of newer to the scene than a lot of people. But the way I look at it is just like I said, if you have the tunes and you get out there and you hump and you get out there and you do your thing, Boston's right next door.
Right. Well, and you get it. You get it as far as using the internet. You have this global platform, the internet, using the internet to help yourself locally.
Absolutely.
And then hopefully regionally and eventually nationally.
Word of mouth is everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you start selling out venues around here, then they'll try you out maybe on a Wednesday in Boston. You start getting popular down there.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're Aerosmith or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's plenty of. It's not like you look around and say, "Oh, well, all the good bands are coming out of L.A. or Seattle." That's just
Right.
not the case. There's plenty of great. The Pixies came out of Mansfield. I
Sure,
think. You know what I
yeah.
mean? There's plenty of great bands that come from this area.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah,
So.
I agree.
Sure.
Well said. Well, Jerry, why don't we play another track from the disc that you brought? Some of these live bootlegs. What do you want to play?
Awesome. We're going to do a song about zombies. We write about a lot of weird, eclectic comic book type stuff. This song's called Brains.
All right. This is Brains from the Grays here on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
Don't touch my Gibson.
All right.
You are ready.
All right, we'll knock out this last segment. Okay. All right. Here we go. Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet. Matt from IPMNation.com. Our guest tonight, Jerry Long from The Grays. And let's tell everyone, Jerry, where we can find you online.
Awesome. Yeah, we're all over the place online. We're at thegraysband.com.
Okay.
And it's got links to Reverb Nation, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also look up Jerry Long on Facebook, and that's got links to the band.
Okay.
So that'll have all the bios, media, photos, show dates, all that kind of stuff. We actually have a couple shows coming up as well.
Yeah, anything you want to
Oh, yeah, definitely. If we could plug, we've got one coming up on August 13th. That's going to be at Heat Restaurant. That's in
Okay.
Laconia. That's
Okay.
across from Fun Spot there. Real cool venue. Good chow, good food, pizza and stuff, and full bar, obviously, because we won't play unless
Right.
it's a full bar.
Well,
you
of
know.
course.
And then we also have one coming up at the Cackling Crow. That's in Guilford. That's a real cool place. Real nice people. And they got Mike down there that runs that show, and we'll be playing that show on the 26th of August.
Okay.
So the 13th of August at the Heat, 26th of August at the Cackling Crow.
Okay.
So
And this is all on your website.
this is all on the
Okay.
website, and we hope everybody shows up.
And we
Even
should
the country fans.
And we should clarify too. Grays is spelt with an A.
The Grays is spelled with an A.
Okay.
That is right. Grays.
Okay.
So
G-R-A-Y
apostrophe.
S.
TheGraysBand.com. There's no apostrophe. You can't have the apostrophes
Oh,
in
gotcha.
the websites.
Right.
But yeah, when you look it up anywhere else, you throw that apostrophe in there. So.
All right. Very cool. Well, Jerry, thanks for a great conversation tonight, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
I appreciate the insight on the scene, especially. Very, very cool and positive, which is refreshing.
Awesome. Well,
Very
I'm
much so.
looking forward to playing with all the bands we haven't played with so far, and making the scene bigger and better every day.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Sounds good to me. And thank you, Tim Martin. If you need a DJ for your event, go to centralnhevents.com. You can hire Tim Martin to DJ your event. Please remember to request that he wears the Misfits shirt. And welcome back from vacation, Tim.
Thank you.
You look tan and rested. Or at least rested. It's hard to tell in this light if you're tan. But definitely check out centralnhevents.com. And I want to remind everyone, too, if you like what you heard tonight, all the episodes, apparently all the episodes except one of Local Outbreak are archived on the ipmnation.com/local outbreak. Apparently, Jerry was included in an early episode that we don't have yet.
Yeah, I was on the very first Local Outbreak show.
The lost episode. I'm going to have to look into that and get that up.
There was quite a few bands on there. We actually played a live song to the air. I don't know that anyone's done that since.
Huh.
Did you guys have anybody play live in here usually?
Just acoustically. We've had a couple people.
Yeah, okay, maybe someone has done that.
We've had a couple people do that.
Well, we started it.
Yes. You were the pioneers. Yes.
Yeah.
100.1 The Planet's Local Outbreak with IPMNation.com.
The Planet's Local Outbreak is recorded weekly at the studios of 100.1 The Planet. It's engineered by Tim Martin of CentralNHEvents.com. Matt Connerton of IPMNation.com is the host of The Planet's Local Outbreak. The show is produced and edited by Annie Biello of 100.1 The Planet. For artist links and details about The Planet's Local Outbreak, log on to The Planet's Entertain Me page, WPNHFM.com. The Planet's Local Outbreak is available for download anytime online, IPMNation.com/local outbreak. The Planet's Local Outbreak is a product of 100.1 The Planet and Northeast Communications.